turning now to different types of morphology. So we'll start with stem formation or derivation. So the stem is the part of a word that carries a lexical meaning. Right? So the stem is what you add inflection to. So as a basic example, take the word refinishing in English. There are three morphemes here. There's a stem refinish, which consists of a morpheme re and a morpheme finish. And that's the meaningful part of the word, the lexically meaningful part. And then we have an inflectional suffix ing that we add for particular grammatical reasons. So as you saw in that Cree example that I gave on the previous slide, a stem in Algonquian can be pretty complex. There's a lot that you can do with a verb stem or a noun stem. So here are some examples in Delaware of derived noun stems, just some basic examples. So there's derivation that forms a diminutive, right? So going from bear to bear cub. And then there are different kinds of nominalizations. So this is derivation that takes a verb stem and turns it into a noun stem. So neba means to sleep, a nebagan is a bed. So literally a thing for sleeping. A process nominalization, so nagamo means to sing, nagamoen means singing. A product nominalization, nagamo means sing, nagamon means a song. Okay, so the result of singing. Okay, so these are different types of noun stems that are, in the latter three cases, derived from verb stems. Verb stems themselves can be derived, and very often are derived. There's very rich stem forming derivational morphology for doing this. I won't go through all these examples, but just to start off, so to form a verb of being, you can take a noun like, so these examples are from Ojibwe. You can take a noun like jibai, which means ghost, add a suffix iwe, and you get a verb stem that means to be a ghost, jibaiwe. Verb of making, so take a noun stem like anakan, mat, and add a suffix ike, and you get anakan ike, to make mats. Verb of possessions, you can go from a noun meaning duck to a verb that means to have ducks. So those three were derived from nouns. You can also derive verbs from other verbs. So if you take a verb like mento, which means to be big, and you add a suffix h, you get mentito, which means to make somebody be big, right, or to enlarge someone. And you can do benefactives, to work for someone, reciprocals, reflexives, detransitivizing. So if you take a transitive verb like tagon, which means to hold it, you can add a suffix ege, which takes away the transitivity. So tagon ege means to hold stuff, or to be a holder, right? But you no longer actually have to give an object. All right, so very, very rich system of derivational morphology for forming verb stems and noun stems from other verb stems and noun stems. There is a basic template that can describe the way stems are formed, and it involves three Algonquian-specific terms: an initial, a medial, and a final. These terms are completely opaque to other linguists. They're only used by Algonquianists. But they're an accurate description of the way the stem forming morphology works. So the initial, the first morpheme in a stem, this provides the core lexical meaning. So the basic meaning of the stem. The medial is optional, and the medial is basically an incorporated noun. And then the final comes at the end. We've talked about finals a little bit already. The final marks the grammatical category. So is it a verb or a noun? Is it transitive or intransitive, if it's a verb? We can also distinguish between abstract finals, which have only this function, and concrete finals, which add a little bit of meaning as well, beyond just marking category. So here's a couple of examples of verb stems in Meskwaki that exemplify this template. So there's a verb stem bitige, which means to enter a dwelling. And this stem has three parts. There's an initial beat, which means into. There's a medial wick, which means a dwelling. Right? So this is like an incorporated noun. And then there's an abstract final a, which means I'm an AI verb. In other words, I'm an intransitive verb, and my subject is animate. The second example, bemachquisen, which means to lie lengthwise on a solid, or to lie lengthwise being a solid. So a very descriptive verb stem. Here the initial is bem, which means along. So this gives us the idea of lengthwise. There's a medial ach, which means a wooden object or a solid object. Again, this is like an incorporated noun. And then there's a concrete final isen. So it says I'm an II verb, meaning I'm inanimate and intransitive, but it also adds the meaning of to be lying. So it marks category, but also adds a little bit of meaning.